So I'm gonna take you into a journey that I went to Prague, and it was such beautiful things that I've seen out there. It was just a moment that I would never forget. Thanks to Teresa and Devin for showing me everything out there, and especially explaining their animals and their love for their animals. They love their animals. They're so enthusiastic when it comes to them. They show me all their combinations and how they're being well taken care of, how they take care of them. They just beautiful people, beautiful animals, just a beautiful environment. And I hope you all enjoy this episode of What's in Your Passion, something that I'm gonna be doing. And I'm not gonna stop educating about reptiles, but this is more an aspect of education and entertainment. So I hope you enjoy this. I'm heading to Prague, and it's gonna be really cool. And I hope you enjoy this video and enjoy this adventure with me. Trust me, you will not be let down. It's gonna be amazing and incredible. We're gonna herp out together and enjoy this journey together. Thank you for watching. So I went to another location where there's creepy crawlers. Yeah, you heard right, creepy crawlers. Spiders, nothing but spiders. Something that is just overly whelming, and they just came in, and you can see the all in the jar. They're not in their environment yet. They just came in, and Devin was just showing me all of them. It was just so remarkable and crazy, insane, and it kind of gave me chills a little bit just seeing them go crazy, you know. But spiders are interesting, you know. It's something different. I want to get into them maybe in the far future, but for right now, I'm set what I have. But that was just awesome. And then there was also another moment where Devin made me hold a dwarf reticulated python. That was a little nerve-wracking because they have a little intimidating face, and it's such a bigger snake that I'm used to. But it was awesome, just touch him. Then I kind of calmed down. I was like, oh, this isn't so bad. Just remarkable. It was a remarkable place, especially the green tree python. It was very beautiful, just hanging there majestically. But I'll leave it alone. I'll leave it at that. But I had an amazing time. You're not gonna get disappointed. It's just gonna be more inspirational, inspiring for you and what direction you wanna go, or if you wanna purchase an animal, or you wanna learn how they're being taken care of. This is all in here. You don't wanna miss out on these animals because they're epic and amazing, and they're so fire. So I hope you enjoy this, and let's jump into it.
So we're Prague Morphs. I'm Devin. I'm originally from Las Vegas, and this is Teresa, who's originally from the north of Czech Republic. We started Prague Morphs just for fun, living in a small apartment in Prague. We wanted a pet, and a dog wasn't it, so we started off with snakes. Through a bit of a miscommunication through the guy that we bought our first snake from, we ended up getting two, and that's kind of what started our breeding plans. Because the breeder at the time was like, oh, you can make butter Batmans, and I'd never heard of butter Batman, so I found the morph calculator on Morph Market and just went down the rabbit hole, and that was kind of the start of it. Prague Morphs now has turned into a bit more than a hobby. We're now full-time. We plan on servicing a majority of the market. A lot of things went very well for us, very fast, and we had a lot of opportunities to begin with. Overall now we have about 450 animals. This is our fourth snake room in the house that you're standing in. Even though we will be moving soon, this was kind of our start. This year we plan on having 60 to 100 clutches, and last year we had 22, I think. And that was our first serious breeding year. Prior to buying Renee's collection, clown was our base, but now it's kind of shifted over towards hypo. We still have a lot of clown stuff. We try to focus on multi-recessive projects. We have most double recessive clowns in the building, except for a few random ones like paint clown, for example. Now we are full-time, as I said before. We have a team of 5 of us, and we plan on getting as big as we can without the animals suffering, meaning that we're not turning into a factory with thousands of animals. We would like to keep the same care for everything, and whether it's a normal or a quadruple recessive, it still gets the same care in our facility. I hope that answers the question.
So, Teresa, what about you? What are your responsibilities in Prague Morphs?
So I'm basically responsible for anything that has to do with cameras, computers. So I take all the pictures, I take care of all the social media, I do the editing for videos, and I take care of the spreadsheets. So if there is anything that needs to go in the spreadsheet, that's on me.
Are you also into the snakes as well?
Yes. I really like the Hypo Puzzle project, so I'm glad we get to get the collection because for now that's my favorite stuff in the house.
And what responsibilities other than just doing the computer work, do you also help around with the animals or?
Yeah, I mean, especially in the beginning, I used to do all the stuff like cleaning, you know, all the basic care. I never did feeding. I did it like a few times and I got wrapped. So
Yeah.
that was basically the end of it. But now as we like are trying to grow, I am focused more on the social media, but I know how to do everything. So if it's needed, I'm there.
And what can you tell for someone that's trying to start in the beginning to grow more? What kind of advice can you give?
Don't go as fast as we did. Really plan out your projects. Be patient on buying the correct animal. If there's an animal you really need and has a gene on top of it that doesn't help your project, sometimes it's better to just wait and move forward. Don't try to jump on the FOMO train, the fear of missing out. That's another big one. You don't want to just be jumping on projects every single time they're hyped up. Do what you like, do what you love, get advice from the people that are around you, and stay friendly and spread love because this industry has too many haters and too much stuff from the bottom. So I think it's very important for people to make a community and help each other because even though we are still competing with each other, we're still in the same race, we're still trying to make the same animals, and even with all these animals here, we won't be able to complete every project in our lifetime. So that's going to be the same for everybody else, so we should all hold each other's hands on the way.
So, what is your favorite project so far?
My favorite project, I guess, is kind of split. I like Hypo Clown a lot. I also like Hypo DG Clown. Hypo DG Clown obviously being a bit further along, but I love Hypo Clown. That was one of the first double recesses we really put some real money into. The special Hypo Clown is probably one of my favorite animals in here, the one that we will be showing you guys. And I really like all the hypo stuff, Hypo Pied, Hypo Puzzle, Hypo Clown, so that's kind of our base at the moment. Me personally, I'm not a huge Pied guy. I think it's a bit hard to work with, but we do have some Pied in-house.
That's the one I kind of talked you into getting into Hypo Pied stuff. So that's some of my favorite, and also the Hypo Puzzle as I already mentioned.
Can you explain like what you guys do here? How long does it take? Is it time consuming for all of you?
Well, we're a team of 5 people currently, I think. We have 4 of us that are cleaning on and off. I think that if we add up all the hours of everybody in the facility, there's probably people cleaning snakes for between 40 and 60 hours a week. Her work is probably similar, between 40 and 60 hours a week of doing like social media, Instagram, editing videos, editing photos.
What is your favorite part about these animals?
My favorite part about these animals is how calm they are, because I'm a bit of a high-strung guy, so I think one of the things that really attracts me to snakes is there's nothing fast that happens with ball pythons. You got a problem, you gotta wait. You want to wait for a clutch, you gotta wait. So this really helps pull me down. It's a good balancing act towards me. I overall love animals. I love the unique challenge that reptiles present because it's not the same loving relationship that you have with, say, a dog. So you still need to have a mutual respect in order to work with them correctly. I also like the challenge of figuring out genetics, animal health as a whole, you know, the strategy of keeping everything healthy, kind of viewing it as a unit. If one animal's sick, then there's obviously something wrong. So these are my favorite parts of the animal industry. What about you?
I think I agree with everything. I have to add that we've met a lot of amazing people, so the community has been really like a big thing for me because it's been a lot of fun. And with snakes specifically, I really enjoy the biology and genetics part, so the like medical stuff and everything, that's the stuff I'm like really excited about.
Yeah, and also learning new things and moving along because
the learning's been great.
This industry is only 30, 40 years old, so regardless of how experienced we are, we don't know everything about these animals and we're still learning every year. So,
And that's what makes it beautiful.
Yes, I agree.
what is the future for Prague Morphs?
The future for Prague Morphs is long, I hope. This is going to be something that we plan on doing for our careers until we retire. And for us, the long run is multi-recessive. If you want to survive in the ball python game right now, you have to have at least some recessives as your base. There's nothing wrong with making codon combos, but it needs to be tough to produce. The harder a snake is to produce, the better it's going to hold its value. So for the long run, we're focusing on multi-recessives. As I said earlier, clown multi-recessive was our main base, but now it's kind of been diversified into hypo. So we plan on continuing with our double recessives, such as DG clown, hypo clown, puzzle hypo, but we also plan on adding multiple recessives to those as well. So our puzzle hypo project, the next big step is going to be adding desert ghost. We currently do not have any desert ghost puzzles, so it's going to take a bit of time, but that's the next big step for them. For hypo clowns and DG clowns, we would like to take them and put them together, so that's going to be hypo DG clown. Sunset clown as well, we would like to go in both the sunset hypo clown, the sunset DG clown, and all four put together, the sunset hypo DG clown. So just those three multi-recessive projects can be thousands of animals, and that's kind of the start of how we think about things. So even though we're continuing to work on the projects that we have, and we still love clown and hypo and everything, our main goal season by season is getting those extra recessives into combos. Because we all know that making double recessives is tough, especially head to head. Once you start adding that third and fourth recessive, you really start playing with variants. So that's kind of our long-term plan. We also work with a vet named Dr. Stahl out of the States. He manages Justin Kobilka's collection along with a few other guys. So we consult with him 3 to 4 times a year to make sure that everything's running smooth. He has a lot of experience with big collection management, especially through Justin. So throughout the whole process and step by step and month by month, we like to keep him on board because if we have a small problem or a big problem, he gives us the answer. He helps us continue to give you guys healthy animals, and we try to keep the best environment possible for as many animals as we can. So that's kind of the short, long answer of our long-term plan. I hope that put things into perspective.
All right, so this is the questions for like new upcoming breeders or decides to create a path for themselves. They would like to know what animals to start with a project would help them pursue them a little further than what they are.
So if I was to give advice to a new breeder, I would really say to focus on those good females. You should try to be aiming for females that don't need to be replaced for say 3, 4, even 5 seasons. Because once you get in that kind of groove of, oh, this baby replaces this female, it just keeps going and you have a lot more volume and snakes you need to sell and you don't really build that base collection up. So on top of that, I also recommend that people start with a recessive. Pick whichever one is your favorite, at least get some of that and then focus on working the codons on top. As the market comes down a bit, the double recessives are getting cheaper and cheaper. So like hypo head clowns, clown head hypos, clown head DGs, all these things have come down to a bit more of a reasonable price. So if you are going to be starting, really think of that multi-recessive long run, but at least pick something that you like and really start with good females first. Don't get on that FOMO train. Don't think that you have to make clutches and returns right away. Even if the market's dropping, you plan on breeding these animals for multiple seasons, so that animal will pay itself off if you continue to do it correctly. That's the best piece of advice I guess I can give.
Patience.
And patience, yes, and patience, of course.
Lots of patience.
Lots and lots of patience. Yeah, nothing else to say about that one.
Another question for the viewers, like what is like the perfect size for a female to start breeding?
This one's up for debate. Some people say 1,200 grams. Some people say by their third winter. From what we've learned and the people around us, the female is ready to breed when the female is ready to breed. As Derek and I have talked while he's here, one of the good ways to see this is with an ultrasound. If you don't have an ultrasound, our rule of thumb is around 1,200 grams. I mean, if she's 1 year old and 1,200 grams, that's probably a bit early, but you're not going to hurt the female by at least trying to pair her. I wouldn't go, once a week or something if she's that young, but the ultrasound could show you if she's building follicles or not. Every once in a while, you have that young female, maybe she's at 13 or 14 millimeters, which would be a few millimeters bigger than without building, and then you can pair her, and then your others might not be building. So that's kind of the best way to do it, but without the ultrasound, your best bet is to just wait until they're around 1,200 grams.
And vice versa for the male aspect of snakes.
Well, for the males, mind you, we only have one full breeding season of experience, so I don't want to go out there and give too many things. I've heard things of all over the place, but for us, our males tend to start breeding between that 500 and 600 gram mark, and 6 months-ish or later. There's obviously exceptions to every rule, but for us, the older the male is, and the bigger he is, and I don't mean huge, but we have some males that are close to 2 years old and maybe around 1,000 grams. Maintaining them there seems to be the best for us. We're not too scared of them getting too big or lazy. That hasn't been something that we have experienced yet. And for me at least, I feel a bit better if the male has a bit of fat on him in case he gets off food. So I'm not a huge guy. I don't want to get I bred my best male this season. We put him to a female at 400 grams. He stops eating and shuts all our plants off. So that's kind of how we look at it.
And feeding, like how many you should feed and how many per week, stuff like that, just so for all the people that are trying to get into this, they would want to know.
So for feeding for us, we started out on a bit more of a routine. We used to feed once a week pretty religiously every Thursday. That was the time for feeding. We did it for both hatchlings and adults. Nowadays, we still feed once a week, but because of being busy and everything, it's not that much of an exact science. So if I was to put it on average, I would say we feed on between every 9 and 10 days, because we have maybe 2 weeks in a row and then you come and then we skip. Or like for example, last week I really upped the size that I gave breeders. They usually get 100 gram rats and I tried 200 gram rats and a lot denied the week after. So with hatchlings, we still like to feed at least once a week, keep rats, mice for them. I don't think they need to be fed that much more often. We're not in the race anymore to get things big. We have a few holdbacks that we're kind of testing and feeding a bit more often than the others to see if it makes a difference, but so far for me, once a week seems to be fine for everything.
Especially for the females as well?
Yeah, the females we will hit with multiple. Prior to us being on 200 grams, I would hit females with multiple rats if they were still hungry. But since last week and we really upped that size, a lot of them only took one. But yeah, once a week, especially during breeding season, but even once every 2 weeks on females. It depends on her size. The bigger female does better with less food, and the smaller female does better with more food.
And what are the lifespans of these animals?
Well, on paper, they say that the ball python lives 20 to 30 years, but us as human beings have only had them in our house for I think 40 years or 50 years max. And I think there's been some zoos who have animals pushing 60 years old. So 30 years old seems to be the norm, the average, but as we learn to keep them better and as time goes on, I think that we will see more and more people with animals that are older than 30 years old.
And what is a great time to retire a snake?
A great time to retire a snake is when you yourself as a breeder don't have use for her anymore, because those snakes are going to breed their whole life cycle. I don't believe, and I could be wrong here, that female just, she's 22, she needs to get off the breeding cycle now. So as I said earlier, if you're buying the correct females and you're holding things back, you shouldn't need to replace those females very often because they will always have use. So try not to go into that space of, we're going to use this female for 1 year and then sell her, because as much as this is a game and a business and a hobby for us, they are still animals, and that animal probably wants to be in the same home for most of its life. Every time you change, it's going to be a bit of a stressful situation. None of us have the same environments, etc. So a bit of a complicated answer for that.
You have to ask us in 20 years to see.
Yeah, ask us in 20 years. And we'll
Definitely,
I'll
be back. But it was nice meeting you guys. You guys were wonderful. Thank you for having me, and thank you for this interview. It's well honored, and I appreciate everything you guys do. And coming up, I wish you much success and moving on forward. You guys are great, and I will see you for the next one, part 2,
in 6 months.
In 6 months,
maybe.
And I wish you all the best, you guys.
Awesome, thanks, man.
So there you have it. It was just remarkable, wasn't it? I hope it gave you some kind of spark and creativity, what direction you want to go and what you want to do with your animals. But what comes first is the animal's health. I'm always going to say that. If you love your craft, you have to love your animals first and then your craft later. So make sure you really take care of these animals with love and care that they need, and the nurture and the food that they're supposed to have. Just make sure you have everything in order. And this is for you consumers and reptile enthusiasts or people that are trying to get in or upcoming breeders, this is for you to inspire a journey that you want to do with these reptiles. Maybe it gives you a creativity, what direction you want to go. And I hope this helped you, and I hope this sparked you to do something exciting and further that you want to do for yourself. And thank you all for watching, and I hope you like this so I can do this again. I did another facility, so I hope you enjoy this. So I hope to see you on the next one.